We learn from elders. We learn from survival. We learned from each other. For trans guys. Wisdom you can feel. Real talk. Collective care. Hey everybody, and welcome to Four Trans Guys. I'm Megan.
I'm Zander.
I'm JJ.
And I am Link.
We have a guest today. We have the Four Trans Guys on the Four Trans Guys podcast. So yeah, we should all clap. That's something to celebrate. So,
Yay!
I mean, people know us, but Link, people don't know you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Oh, I'm Link, and I live what I would call a hybrid life. I live in a rural community, or have for many years in Arizona, that tends to be very conservative, very Christian, retired folk. But I'm a transgender man, but I transitioned 15 years ago. And so, or no, 18 years ago. God, I got to do my own math. And so that gives me kind of a perspective of I appear to be a white guy, lives down the street, long beard, nobody would ever assume. But on the outside, I'm, out in social media and have advocated and done a lot of things to make positive change for paved paths. But in my everyday life, I have to be kind of stealth. And so that gives me a bit of a unique perspective. And that's a little bit about me as far as on the personal side of me. And then I'll talk more about what I do later.
So there's a lot of things that we share just in special company, or is invisible to some people who don't know what to look for. Is there anything about your personal life's lived experience that if you shed a light on it, it might help people kind of understand your identity better? Some of the things we've talked about in the past is
Sure.
Which decade we went through medical stuff and
Yeah,
what that was like,
absolutely.
or what our family arrangement is, right?
Sure. It wasn't all at once. I call this a journey. A transition as a whole is a journey, not a sprint. I started out in the early 2000s. As early as 1999, where I was grappling as a biological female, that I knew that something was different about me. I'd always known since the age of 4, but I didn't know there was no language back then in the 80s and 90s. And then coming into those early 2000s and starting, and the first people I met were the Jameson Greens and the Kate Bornsteins and and so I was one of the first, and there was nobody in my neck of the woods, nobody in this region. And so it's starting out as that butch in the early 2000s and then coming out as transgender as a 25-year-old person. I had already been married to a man. I had already given birth to a child. There weren't other people like me around. So I ended up becoming more of like a leader and an advocate for change and paving the way. And I was the first transgender person to get be awarded full custody of my child. And so it was thank you. And it was a tumultuous time, and so I was given the opportunity to do many firsts, to create programs and do things to engage our populations of the LGBTQ plus. I was the one who added the plus in literature so that there would be a way to delineate the asterisk after the pronoun symbol. Many firsts, but being in an area that was rural and conservative, and you had to go about things in a very nice way to convert allies, because there weren't people like us. You had to make friends who wouldn't otherwise be a friend if you were to just come out and say, hey, I'm transgender, respect my pronouns. That course of action didn't work to pave the way to say, hey, I need resources, but nobody knows about XYZ or who I am or what, and have to be the provider of education to get and receive my own services. And so there came a point where I was like, oh, screw this. I pass now. I just want to live my life as a man and have this luxury privilege, right? That we all pray for, that we could, blend in, and realize that living that life was extremely lonely, scary, isolating, In order for friends and family to truly know me, they needed to know that about me. I couldn't hide my past. My past was my present. And the future that I wanted to incorporate a little bit of all of me. And that made it hard because there were people and there were haters as this became an issue in the media. In the 2017 realm, we see the Black Lives Matters and race and things come to the forefront. While at the same time, there was this transgender aspects of where in the transgender community, and I hope this is answering your question, but because I had a really hard time putting this into perspective of us saying, during this time where I'm supposed to find my community and be a member of leading my own community, like I always have, here's a community that has prioritized someone that doesn't look like me. And I don't fit into that realm. So now I fit into this white, male, middle-aged, I'm bald, I got a long beard, I drive a big truck, I don't necessarily support all the initiatives of the, quote unquote left. And I'm like, wow, wait a minute here. I'm living a self life, but it's not privileged. It has its own pain and sorrow. I have no one to turn to. My community has turned its back on me. And as people that I had sought community and friendships from, and those relationships developed, I was outed and chose to out myself in a series of events that I'll call it just a series of events that led to my life turning upside down, where I was homeless, where I was targeted by police, where I was taken on joyrides, charged with 9 different felonies over the course of 3 years that I did not commit. Stuff being published about me in the newspaper. But now it was the opposite. I was a white supremacist. I had become the other side. That was how they destroyed my reputation and how they destroyed my relationship with a once bond I had with the LGBT community I helped create. Now didn't want a part of me, but the other side didn't want to be a part of me or me to be a part of them because they were ashamed, and we can't include transgender people into our narrative. And so there was no place to turn until I said, I got to a point in my life where I was like, and I heard in one of your previous podcasts, Zander, you had said something about the fact that you just got to a point where you just got to be happy with who you are as a person and realize that there's no space that's going to fully accept all of you. And it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter anymore. We are who we are. And it's about coming full terms with understanding who I was and that I couldn't be everything to everyone, nor fit in anyone's space and it include all of me. And be okay with that. Being okay with being an identity nomad, so to speak. So
that's amazing. An identity nomad. I really resonate with that. And thank you for all the work that you've done in the past. It sounds like through your survival, you thrived in many ways. And now you're surviving even again. And it makes me wonder, like, how does your survival actually transcend into something like healing? Like, what does healing look like for you versus survival? What is that happening like for you now?
The past, I think about this question and I look back at the last 44 years of my life. I gave my age there. You see that? The last 44 years of my life and all of my years as an advocate and what healing looked like in the past. Healing looked like igniting change, starting fires and making change where it needed to happen, ruffling those feathers and creating visibility around the things that people need to pay attention to. And what I found was that it's healing in the moment to see that change happen, but all of the work became emotionally exhausting, and that I had to separate my life and my existence from the work, and understand the dynamics of overflow, that my identity is part of my work and what I do, but it doesn't have to be everything. We can pick and choose when to bring that out of the box. So for me, it started with healing, started in this next generation. This, I say it's a series of 5s, and I'm in my 4th round of 5s, where that first 5 years of transition, I was trying to find out who I was. The next 5 years of transition, I was like, okay, I got myself down pat. Now what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And then once I figured out that, it was like, okay, how do I want my years that I have left to look like? Now that I know who I am and I know what I want to do, what do I want my life to look like? How do I want to live it? And what legacy do I want to leave? How do I want to be remembered? Do I want transgender written on my headstone? No, I don't. But I really hope it's published in all the history about me. It doesn't define me, see? And so the healing was drawing boundaries between people's lack of knowledge about this topic and taking it personally. So that way I could be able to remove myself from the situation and emotionally and educate. That was starters. The next aspects of healing is doing something entirely different than what I'm passionate about, which is in my daily, I do gig work, delivering groceries, delivering food. I get my exercise. I get to meet and connect with people. I get to learn how people live. I get to share, and I get to do a good deed for other people who really need it. And so that healing other people and helping other people is a big part of healing, where I can't have as much control over my healthcare. My healthcare is not as easy to obtain. There isn't the research of law on. There's so much. I could do a whole podcast on just everything that's missing in trans health, and wishing that we could transition the conversations about transgender identity away from identity and politics into longevity, sustainability, healthiness, wellness. Those are the things that we need as a community. And so I try and strive every day to drink enough water. JJ, first and foremost, health and wellness looks like I got to drink enough water and not being afraid to use the bathroom.
Especially in Arizona.
Yeah. Oh God. The number of times I've walked into a bathroom stall and it's just a curtain. It's a different world down here. It's the Wild Wild West.
Absolutely. Well, and we've talked on our, in different episodes about the ways in which we are finding ways to connect and celebrate. And we talked about joy once, but we were talking about like joy is resistance. We didn't really talk about it in any more detail, but I mean, how do you find a way to stay connected, to have a sense of community, to celebrate with the people around you? What are ways that you're doing that?
Oh man, it's a part of my model, live my life by the balance of body, mind, heart, and soul. And that's simple. I gotta keep up my body healthy and well. I only have so much time to dedicate to friendships or relationships. And I got to a point in my life where I was like, I'm working so hard to try and have a relationship with my family who doesn't quite accept me and needs to ask me 1,000 questions and try and talk me out of stuff, and not just about my identity, but about everything. Versus I have people in my life that have loved me and respected me and have been my family and invited me to their family functions and invited me to their dinner table. It's one thing for a person to say, hey, we love you, we respect you, we love working with you, whatever. We'll go out and have a drink with you or go dancing, whatever. But it's another thing that when they invite you to their table with their family, with their friends, to feel included. And so I went through this kind of path where, I was so busy with everything. It was hard. The lines became grayed on which relationships I should keep, maintain, which ones were most important. And so I made it a point over a few years to really put a plus sign and negative sign and next to names in my life and go, which relationships do I very much value and want to show the commitment that they mean more to me than just and is it mutual? And so now I maintain a really unique, diverse set of relationships, set of friendships across the whole world. I've gone a lot of college. I went to college and I've gotten 14 years of formal education, including a law degree and an MBA. Thank you, and it's so I've created friendships along the way in all these different arenas that together it would be one heck of a party if they were all in one room at the same time. But I keep and maintain those relationships by even just sending a text message, just saying hi, sending an email, like putting them on my calendar for 3 months from now, just a reminder to say, hey, say happy birthday to whoever they are on my list. And so that has enabled me to keep in contact. And as I'm on the road full time, I stop in and connect and say, hey, can I stay a couple days? Can I help you out with anything? And so we explore, we share homesteading responsibilities. And right now we're with a family that needs help. They've got things and they've got a small homestead. They've got a baby on the way. There's family that's sick and they just need extra arms and hands. And we're here providing that and maintaining that relationship because it's important to us, while also being able to build on what we're doing, my partner and I, with our future. And it's creating that balance, man. And those are the people that keep me sane and keep me safe and out of trouble and not opening my mouth too much and getting myself into trouble.
Well, we all do that, and life happens. Welcome to the Overeducated Club, as all of us are as well.
For real.
I will say, Zander has spoken so highly of you that I checked out your website, Linking Dreams, and
it's a
all
work
the
in
cool
progress.
stuff, right? Because you're doing so much cool stuff, like helping people get into community and figure out how to balance things. Will you tell people about it?
Yeah, it started as a consulting firm. I was always independently going into organizations, making things better by creating programs, doing one-on-one consulting, training, expert consultation. I've done all kinds of stuff, but always having this dream to create a one-stop shop place that provides resources that are safe, a community that you feel connected to, have the opportunity to build on something that's like it really take everything that exists and the best that you could possibly consume all in one place. And then every moment you spend on that platform or making relationships or finding jobs through that network added value to your own life and investment that your time was worth something. I always had this dream, and so I'm really excited about what I'm doing. And so I'm still doing the consulting, I'm still speaking, I'm still doing the program work, but really are focused on creating a community, being a part of a movement where so many people have been displaced in these last few years, lost their jobs, they can't afford the housing, they can't afford food. They are tired of working for chump change and seeing the rich get rich and them walking away with nothing. It has moved away from where most people don't believe in the whole identity politics. They don't vote anymore. They don't get involved. There's this other segment that wants to grow their own food, homestead, do the things and connect with their neighbors and create new alternative ways of living, working, doing business. And so becoming a part of that, I've gone on the road. Now I've done all the research and built a network, a library of all these different resources, networks, communities that people are part of, homesteads that need people to work for them, small businesses that need people to work today. And I've put them and compiled them on lists that I'm now building that database for and going live for. And next year, we're hosting a gathering of the community that already exists in the desert of Quartzsite, Arizona, where 2 million people come from all over the world looking for that alternate way to experience community and building something really dynamic out of that. So once we have that gathering, we'll hit the road for the next 2 years, going into our pre-planned route into different towns, almost like going on tour. I'll be doing speaking engagements, and I've already booked several places along the way that will stop and do the research and connect those resources and address those needs, building all the while a network that it'll be a community-driven, community-owned platform, taking technology and making it work for the people. And so I'm really excited. And to get it going, I published a guide in January that has nearly 1,000 ways people can connect to work right now, right today, non-traditional. You can get jobs on there too. There are job platforms, but it was really meant for someone like me that fell through every crack, that could not get a job because I was not something enough. I'm tired. I've been displaced my whole life. I'm tired of trying to fit. And I knew that there was enough people out there with everything that's happened with data that we try and fit everything perfectly within 2 boxes. And when you really look at it, more than 70% of people in the United States don't vote. That's how many people have unsubscribed from making change in the traditional ways. And so I want to reach those people over the next couple of years and build a dynamic community and connecting them to work and different ways of living first, because that's what's needed right here, right now. And so they can find more at the website. It's growing. It's a work in progress. I've got different people working on it, but I didn't want AI to create it for me because it needed to come from my own authentic content. So bear with me if you go on there and go, what is this? It may not be complete yet.
It's pretty. I like it. And I have this vision of you. Like, number one, I took this road trip during COVID with my family. We drove an RV because we weren't sure how to look up which states we could use the bathroom in. It was a thing. Yeah. But I have this very deep memory of like stopping at a place in Arizona where ancient people had like carved their own houses out of the stone, you know, the kind. And it like makes me think, I'm like I
lived 1 mile from there.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Because I have this vision of you. Yeah, I have this vision of you as like, not like a mole person, because that comes off as negative, but as like, when danger comes for trans people, you've got every tool to survive underground or in the stone or whatever homestead.
I'm the missing link,
and then pop back out and be like, I was living my best life that whole time. Like, I was off the radar of harm, but I was not disengaged from my dreams. And so I love that it's called Linking Dreams and your name is Link. Like, I love you're still holding like this vision of connection, even though like my family loves Homestead Rescue. Like, it could be such a life of isolation, but you're like still connected. Like, there's just so many beautiful things about it. You can tell in my voice how passionate and excited I think it is. But I just think there is such a profound beauty to people being able to figure out how they want to live instead of like getting stuck, finding an imaginative way to keep going in the midst of it all. And then like there's nothing more beautiful. Like, you're the MacGyver of Arizona who's going to figure out how to like make it happen. And then you're not done with like your own personal survival. You're like, and then I'll drive to your house and teach you to do it. Like, that's kind of kick-ass.
Is our community has survived and gained traction to even be able to transition because we were able to articulately create a box for ourselves so that we could count ourselves and say that we exist. But it's so funny to try and think about squeezing us all into a little box that says this when we are so different. And most of us that I know don't fit either. We don't fit either. So we find our own ways, you know. And
how wacky that like
survival.
Right, like 60s and 70s radicalness of like, we're just gonna get our own communes, bro. Like, right? All of that. What used to be radical is conservative, depending upon where you live. And like what used to be survival skills by other people is deemed to be like hiding in shadows or whatever people come up with. But I just love that you're living your best life. I really hope that like people listening will resonate and vibrate with the idea that like you don't have to move to an Arizona homestead if you don't want to, but like figure out your deal. Yeah. Connect with enough people to feel like you're whole and you're not like stuck. And if it's possible to like live beyond the dreaming of people who want to take your rights away, like keep going. Like, when the world won't employ you, create your own job, right? Like, it's so persistence that not everyone has access to, but like other people are like really hoofing it. And as someone who grew up in South Dakota, anyone who can survive rural life and not flee to San Francisco where I currently live, like, you've got my heart, man.
So true. You know, I had a near-death experience 2 years ago where it was about 2 years ago. Got listeria poisoning, nearly died in a hospital in Pennsylvania somewhere. Not from there. Afraid, scared for my life, nearly died. Lost 60 pounds in a month. It was not okay. So when I met death's door, I thought to myself, man, do I want to spend the rest of my years in the fight? Or do I want to spend the rest of my years really loving and enjoying that I don't fit and carving out a path that's right for me? Instead of trying to make a world fit me into it, I'll just do my own thing. And I have found the best people since choosing to do that too. Others that have said the same thing. And so if you're out there and you're feeling like the world's against you, or you're not valuable, or you don't feel like you're loved or included, know that you have a place out there, and there you have your people out there, and exploration that's the healing in life, is to explore all the things you don't know yet.
Absolutely. Well, and I appreciate you saying all that, Link, because I wanted to say something, but I didn't say it, and then you said it perfectly, which is not all of us want to fight to make the world invite us in. Some of us are going to just do our own thing, and that's okay too, because I'd rather live than fight also. So I really appreciate that. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Any remarks? Anything else you'd like to share with us before we end?
You know, as you go on this journey, whether you're someone who identifies as transgender and are part of your own journey, or you're somebody who loves your transgender person in your life, know that it's a journey, not a sprint. You're not going to reach any sort of destination, and the grass ain't greener. You know, sometimes transition, hormonal transition, surgical transition, you know, it's not required to assume the position. I always say none of us chose to be transgender. We only choose what transition steps are right for us. And so try to hold your judgments towards other people. And we never know what somebody else has gone through. There's so many things that can impact us, and know that the one thing we have all in common is that we don't fit into the norm, quote unquote, space. And that there's a lot more of us when we come together. So remember that, you know, like if you find a space is icky, leave it. There are others.
Amen, brother. Thanks, Link.
Like, subscribe, message. We really will answer your emails if you are interested in being the fourth trans guy to be in conversation with us. See you soon, everybody.